Welcome to today's PC build, and today you're joined with your host Shanuz, and today we're going to be building a custom PC build mainly for streaming and gaming at high end to medium range. It's a budget build. The whole build cost under £500. The parts we're going to be using today are, for the power supply, a Corsair VS650 650 watt power supply with a 120mm cooling fan. For the graphics card we're going to be using EVGA GeForce GTX 1050, 2GB of RAM, which is GDDR5. For the processor, we chose a multi-core processor, Athlon AMD x4, with 4GHz maximum turbo. The socket is an FM2+. For the cooler, we're going to uprate from the standard included heatsink. We went with an Alpine 64+. It's an AMD cooler for socket FML, FM2, AM2, AM4 and 939. For additional cooling, which is not included in the price, we also went with a.a.a. white LED quiet 80mm fans. For the motherboard, we chose an ASRock A6AM ITX R2.0 and the form factor is Mini ITX. We went with the Mini ITX build because I needed something quick, fast and efficient that would fit into a small space on a shelf or under a cabinet. So the uses for this will be for editing this video, streaming via Twitch and YouTube, creating YouTube videos, gaming and streaming at simultaneous times. The components were picked via looking at 5 or 6 alternatives and choosing the best one and the best price for the best bang for buck. So the build took around 2 hours. I'm an experienced PC builder. I'm in my mid-30s. I had no trouble putting this together. As long as you follow what I've done here and also other YouTube tutorials on the same Thermaltake V1 case, you should find that you don't have any problems. Okay, so the first things first, we're going to start with the ASRock motherboard. So what you want to do is undo the clip here and that will slide back nicely. Right, down in the bottom left we locate the alignment triangle. It's usually in the bottom left, but sometimes it can be up in the top right. Today it's down in the bottom left. You may also find that on the motherboard itself contains the alignment triangle, not actually on the CPU socket. Right, so now what we're going to do is going to take our AMD Athlon CPU and open that up. We're going to remove this out of the packaging. You then have to locate the alignment triangle, which will match up with the CPU socket or motherboard in some cases. There's no need to go mad. There's no need to press this CPU down hard. You just literally lay it down gently, give it a little wiggle with your finger and make sure it is securely seated. If so, and you're happy, you'll bring down the CPU latch and just lock it firmly in place. Now onto the CPU cooler. As you can see, under the cooler you have a nice square of heat paste. I'm not 100% sure that the small square of heat paste will do as good a job as applying some new heat paste yourself. So I went with applying heat paste on top of the small square which came with the CPU. Some builders will prefer this, some builders will not. It's personal preference. So now we're going to take our cooler and we'll clip in the left side and push down on the right side. So just to refer back to the original standard cooler that came with the CPU itself, I do like the fact that the fan is 80mm and can be completely replaceable with an LED fan or an uprated cooler quiet fan. It does have copper piping going all the way through. It is a very good fan as standard. If you do wish to not purchase a fan and save yourself $5, I mean, you could fit this quite easily as long as you're careful with what RAM sticks you're using. Okay, so now we have the CPU fitted and the cooler attached. We can now move on to the RAM. For our memory, we went with the Fury HyperX series. It's a 8GB 1866 CL10. It's very good performance for the price we got it for. I do believe it runs at about £40 at the time of this video. Right, here you can locate the two modules. 9 times out of 10 you'll go for module 1 if you're installing one stick. There's 2 clamps either side of each RAM slot. You have to pull these back gently. Once you've done this, you can then go ahead and line up the notch on your RAM stick with the notch on the RAM slot. Do not place the RAM into the slot with any force if you are not sure you have lined this notch up. Once the ram is securely seated, close the clasps on either side. And whilst we're here and we've done this, we're going to go ahead and attach the 4-pin fan connector, just to make life easy when we secure the motherboard to the chassis. We're going to now take this and fit it into the case using the 4 screws provided in the Thermaltake chassis. Right, as you can see, we have all the sides stripped off, ready to go. We have all our parts laid out where we want them for easy access. So the next step is to grab our power supply and try to go in via the side angle. As you can see, it's a Corsair VS650 as previously described. Here's the model number for those who are interested. So first we need to remove these 2 lock-in screws here. Uno and dos. And then we're going to pop off the bottom panel. Once you've removed that, it gives you large access to the bottom area, which makes life easier for fitting your power supply. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 holes here. You get 4 screws included in the pack. I'm going to go ahead and secure this. Now when you're securing these screws, like a car mechanic would tell you, you go from corner to corner, diagonally installing these screws. The reason being, you'll find that it won't move whilst you get to your next screws. It's very secure if you go corner to corner. If you were to go top to top and then leave the bottom, you'd find that it hangs and it's putting pressure on those small screws. And you may even find that you thread the screws and the power supply could drop away from where you're trying to secure it. So always go corner to corner, whether that be on the motherboard or the PSU. It's my rule of thumb whenever securing any 4 screw configuration. Right, you want to take your motherboard. You want to line up the 4 holes on the motherboard with the 4 hole sockets on the case. So there you go. So they're installed diagonal, same as a car principle. It's not going anywhere. It's solid, which allows me to put the last 2 screws in without any hassle whatsoever. Now for one of the major components, the graphics card or GPU. Here we have our EVGA 1050 GTX, which is a 2GB model. Powerless. Right, be sure to remove this bottom piece. This is a protective rubber to protect the sockets. As you can see, there's some nice branding along the top, nice stickers. At this point, you want to look at the back of the graphics card and you might want to remove the sockets that applies to you. The socket that applies to us is the HDMI, so we're just going to remove one of the HDMI outputs. Just remove the plastic cap on the rear, which is just to protect the 2 screw sockets. Remove the 2 screws and take out the 2 pieces of thin metal. Okay, so once we've got the GPU lined up, you want to give it a small, firm click. And once you hear that click, then you're golden. There is a small clip on most PCI slots, and you'll find that you either have to pull the plastic clip back, or like the RAM slots, just give them a little bit of pressure so that they tilt back and open up. Right, as you can see here, there's a space for your 2 screws to be fitted in to secure the graphics card down. I'm going to put in a quick release twizzle nut that was from an old PC case that I had laying around. Just in case I need to remove the graphics card at any point during this build, it's going to be quicker and easier for me just to twizzle the nut and done and remove the graphics card. You don't have to do this. This is not a step that you need to do. Now what you can see clearly here is the clearance between the graphics card, the power supply, and the gap between them and the case chassis. The gap is abundant. There's going to be some amazing cooling and it's going to have plenty of airflow. Okay, so we've got the CPU in, the motherboard is in, the graphics card is in, the RAM's in, the power supply is in. The last thing to do now is install the hard drive. This involves removing the hard drive caddy and installing the hard drive. So this is the hard drive that I've chosen. I had it laying around. It wasn't one I bought, but I have included it in the total price. It's a 500GB hard drive, nothing special. It will just get the job done. Okay, so I've now removed the hard drive tray. Now everybody will mention that these are very flimsy. These are very cheaply produced. I mean, as you can see here, it's really not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You know, the hard drive I'm using doesn't have a lot of weight, so it doesn't need a large piece of metal to support it. This is perfectly fine. So now we're going to go back and remove our quick release nut, as we didn't need to do any backtracking, and put our more permanent screws back in. Okay, so for the 2.5 inch hard drives, and I want to mount it upside down so that you see less cables. Now the reason for this is better cooling, and the fact it looks a lot tidier if I have the window that side. Now what you want to do is line up the 4 screw holes on the bottom of the hard drive with the 4 screw holes on the back of the plate. And as you can see on the back, plenty of cooling, blowing air through, and it's going to be going through these small holes here, and the heat can be transferred out of the case reasonably well. Now we have the hard drive attached, and as you can see, it's not going anywhere. There's no bending in the metal. It's fine. It's secure. Right, so now we have our hard drive seated. We're going to replace the screw that I took out and put in a bag over here. So as you can see, it's not going anywhere. Now what you want to do is connect your cables to your hard drive. We know that we're going to need this 24 pin connector, so we're going to run that through the middle. Now we're going to take our SATA power cables, and we know we're going to want 2 of these because we're going to want to install a hard drive at a later date to hold of all of our programs and files. Take the first one and install that from the underneath position. If you use the second one, you will find that the first one can run along the inside of the case and be tucked away nicely. So now we're going to take some tie wraps. These are readily available anywhere, but Thermaltake has generously included some of these as well. So we're just going to use the ones that we got sent with the case, and we're going to strap up some of these spare cables. Okay, so now you want to take your SATA data cables and you want to install that to your hard drive and then to your motherboard. So I like to start by going to the motherboard first. The only cables you can see are the ones we're going to be using. All the other cables are tucked underneath with the power supply, but because the power supply fan faces down, there's no cooling issues, and because there's a frame around the front 200mm fan, there's no way that those cables can touch the front fan, so they are completely secure and safe. Okay, so first things first, we want to attach the 24 pin securely to the motherboard. You just want to make sure that it clamps down and the small plastic lip on the side goes over the plastic lip on the slot. Then we're going to take our 6-pin power supply, which is labelled CPU, thankfully, and we're going to attach that to the motherboard to power the CPU. So now we take our SATA cable and we attach that to the motherboard. So as you can see, I've got all my cables tucked in one big bundle. I've done two loops, and then I've tie wrapped both of those. They're not going anywhere and you can't be seen. So now we're going to attach the bottom panel back on. And now that the bottom panel is back on and secured with the 2 lock-in nuts, we can proceed. Okay, so as you can see from this side, there's plenty of ventilation, plenty of space for cooling. I've gone ahead and ordered a white LED cool and quiet fan by the manufacturer a.k.a. I've actually ordered 2 of these, but only 1 have come so far, so we're going to go ahead and fit that, and you can just repeat the process for adding the second one. Inside the box you'll also find your 3 to 4 pin adapters. Attached to the fan is a 3-pin adapter, as you can see here. You also get 4 mounting screws, which is very handy. So you're going to take this adapter and you're going to run your Molex cable, and you're just going to plug the fan into the 3-pin header. Because we're building off of a mini ITX motherboard, we didn't have additional fan headers on the actual board. So we're just going to use the 3 to 4 adapter to solve that issue. So the Molex cable basically goes into your PSU or power supply. As you can see, we've routed the cables, we've hid them up tidily. They run behind the hard drive mounts here and tuck nicely underneath with the Molex cable attached. What we'll do once the fan is attached is tidy up the excess cable. So here you can see I went corner to corner with the screws, the fan is attached. So all we've got to do now is just slide this cable down behind the hard drive bay just to tidy it up a bit more. This cable wasn't going anywhere. There was no need to use tie wraps. As you can see, it looks great. So firstly we'll be attaching the window. I'm going to go with the top slot for the window, and I want the 2 ventilations on either side. The graphics card points out of the right hand sides of the case, so going by that you want some ventilation to allow that fan to breathe. The opposite side you have your hard drives. Now they don't have a fan per se, but they will give off heat, so you just want that heat to escape nice and easily. What I like about these side panels is the bottom half of the side panels are hidden, and you can reverse these round the opposite way. Why you would want to do that I don't know, but it does hide your power supply and your hard drives behind these panels, which give a great aesthetic when this is all lit up with LEDs. Here is just one quick last shot of the underneath of the case, just so that you can see the ventilation for the power supply. And with that, we are done. So now the PC build's complete, we're going to fire this bad boy up by connecting the power supply to the main wall socket, and we're going to see how we did. I've nicknamed this PC build the Sugar Cube. This was put to me on Discord, and it was the preferred name for the build, so we went with it. I hope everybody enjoyed this PC build as much as I did doing it. I am planning to do more serious YouTube videos in the coming future. I hope that you'll all subscribe and come back for more. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you feel like leaving a comment down below, tell me what you did like, what you disliked, hit me up down in the comments. And that's the Drunken out. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.